What is up, my veggies? My name is VeggieTales Raymond, and welcome back to yet again another reaction video. Today we're going to be reacting to Pinkie Tails, Applejack, and the Beanstalk. Just like always, link to the original video will be in the description below, along with magpiepony's channel. Go subscribe to her, go show her tons of support. And I've been meaning to react to this series for a while, but I just have been pushing it off for such a long time, and I was gonna start reacting to these a while ago, but now I'm deciding, hey, let's get to them. I'm starting to get back into the field of MLP because I don't know why, I just feel like getting back into the hype of MLP and stuff like that. And this is what I've been looking forward to react to. So without further ado, let's go ahead and react to Pinkie Tails, Applejack, and the Beanstalk. If I have to, I'll turn it up.
Pinkie Tails, Applejack, and the Beanstalk.
Okay.
Hey there, Poundin' Pumpkin. Are you super excited for your bedtime story tonight? It's a good one. It's all about this pony and this plant and this huge... Well, I'll just get to it.
Alright, let's hear Jack and the Beanstalk in MLP style, I guess.
In a kingdom far away, there lived a poor farmer named Applejack. Although her name would lead you to believe that she harvested apples, it was a common misconception.
Wait. Misconception is quite a big word. You could just say incorrect. That's a big word too.
Wrong.
Mistake? Bobo?
Thank you, Pinkie. Applejack and her mother, Mrs. Sparkle, were in fact cotton
Oh my
farmers.
goodness.
And as every pony
That's
knows,
hilarious.
clothing for ponies is an unnecessary luxury, especially in hard times like these. Therefore, they were suffering financially.
Why don't you just say that they needed beds?
That's what it means, Pinkie.
Oh, carry on then.
Times were so
Pinkie Pie
hard, in
breaking the
fact,
fourth wall
that
like
Mrs.
she always
Sparkle and her
does.
daughter only had one last thing to their name, a cow named Rainbow Vine.
I get it! Because a bovine is another word for a cow, and it's rainbow dash.
Oh my goodness.
On the day that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter
just looks
finished
so
the
weird.
last of their bread, she turned to her daughter and said,
"You must go into town and sell our cow for some bits, or we will surely starve."
Our cow? You mean Rainbow?
Oh, moo!
Don't dawdle, Applejack. Don't stop for anything
I don't
on
even
your
want
way.
to. I don't even know what to
Except
say
no
about
less
that.
than 10 bits for her.
So with Rainbow Vine in tow, Applejack made her way along the worn path towards town.
Moo!
Wow, this
So
is
is
so
that
weird.
all you can say then?
Moo?
Well, howdy there, and hello to you, fellow traveler.
Really, the Fun Fun Brothers?
And his brother said, approaching Applejack with friendly yet somehow still sinister smiles.
Because they're Flim and
let me
Flam,
guess.
obviously.
You're interested in the cow.
Mighty fine beast you got there. If you're looking to sell, I'm sure we could take it off your hooves for, say, 5 bits.
5 bits? Aren't you supposed to be tricking me into selling her for some magic beans?
Magic beans?
One of the brothers said, then turned to the other.
I think
Why,
Applejack
of
has
course
read
we have
the.
ourselves some magic beans.
I think Applejack read Jack and the
The
Beanstalk.
other brother agreed.
Of course, these here are precious beans, and we wouldn't part with them for just anything.
Do we gotta trade or what?
Deal.
Really? I mean, moo!
She talked.
Before another word could be said, the pair of ponies had vanished with Rainbow Vine, leaving poor foolish Applejack with 3 lousy and ordinary beans.
They're supposed to be magic beans.
Ah, yes, of course, Pinkie. 3 lousy and magical beans.
Better.
When
Wow.
Applejack proudly presented the beans to her mother, however, Mrs. Sparkle was far less than pleased.
Beans? Beans? I sent you into town for bits, not beans. You
Well-
cannot live on 3 beans, Applejack. What were you thinking?
I'm just doing what's supposed to be done, and I know for a fact this story has the cow traded for beans.
Worthless.
Mrs. Sparkle exclaimed, tossing the beans
Is it just
from
me,
her
or does it
into
seem
the
like
dry
Applejack
little
is breaking the
just
fourth
outside
wall
the
right now? It's
window.
like,
Well,
that's
maybe
how
you
this
could use
story
your
goes.
Alicorn magic to make them into magic beans.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as magic beans. End of story. Now off to bed with you. I'll have to come up with another plan to get food in this house.
What Mrs. Sparkle didn't know was that the beans she had unknowingly planted were in fact magical, and by the full moon's light, they took root in the hard soil and sprung up into a beanstalk that soared into the sky and pierced through clouds.
Well then.
When morning finally came, Applejack and her mother gazed in awe at the beanstalk, letting their imaginations run wild with the possibilities of where it would lead.
Maybe I should climb it.
Are you sure, Applejack? It looks rather dangerous.
Dangerous?
Why don't you
How
just
is
fly
this
up?
dangerous? There's a spiral ramp conveniently wrapped around the beanstalk leading all the way up.
Please be careful, my daughter.
Mrs. Sparkle said, embracing Applejack one final time before Applejack began the climb.
Honestly, the least these storytellers could do is write in a proper challenge. What, do they think I can't climb a beanstalk on my own?
Applejack ranted just before she broke through the
Okay,
cloud
now
cover.
Applejack is breaking the fourth
Well,
wall.
that was fast.
Applejack added, taking a look around, and discovered an entire world above the clouds that no pony would have ever dreamed.
Wait, am I expected to walk on this here cloud? I'm still just an earth pony, you know. Can't do that sort of thing without Twilight's magic. Oh well.
Applejack took a wary step onto the cloud, and found, much to her surprise, that it was firm as solid ground. She wandered away from the beanstalk, and took note of the strange plants, which seemed far larger than those back in Equestria. Even the blades of
Well,
grass
technically,
could
isn't
tower
she
over
still
her
in
some
Equestria,
places.
just in the sky?
After wandering for a few minutes, Applejack came upon a giant building, and her eyes widened as she beheld
Is the
it.
giant gonna be Pinkie Pie?
Bakery? It's a giant bakery. Gee, I wonder who could possibly live in a giant bakery in the sky.
Still, she knew that bakeries had all manner of wonderful things to eat, and that perhaps this was the answer to all of her problems. Without so much as a knock, Applejack easily slipped under the giant bakery's door
Oh, that
and
stuff
craned
looks
her neck
good.
up to see shelves upon shelves of wonderful things to eat.
I see
There
a
were
table.
pastries, creams, pies, cakes, donuts, and loaves of delicious bread for as far as she could see. The only problem was that each of these delectable goodies were too high to reach and too heavy to lift and bring back home. While she pondered her predicament,
Because they're
Applejack could hear a
ginormous.
faint tooting sound coming from somewhere on the table nearby. She wandered closer, the sound becoming
I
progressively
didn't even
louder.
see Applejack down
It
there.
reminded her of the sound of a tuba, intermingled with the sobs of a pony. Once she reached one of the legs of the table, she paused.
Oh, look! Another conveniently placed spiral ramp leading from the floor to the table. How totally unexpected.
Applejack climbed the leg of the table, and once she reached the top, she saw an array of wonderful sugary things to eat.
Then
There were
eat.
jellies as tall as buildings, and pies as wide as farmland, cakes as deep as ravines, and all manner of candies scattered about in a chaotic fashion. She was so overtaken by the sight
Isn't it cool
that she
that it
nearly
made
forgot the
Discord the
reason she had
giant?
climbed in the first place. It wasn't until she heard another loud and out-of-tune tuba tune that she continued her pursuit of the sound. When she turned the corner,
What the?
Applejack saw what she believed was just a regular tuba slumped against a piece of blueberry pie. What she didn't realize was that the tuba itself was moving and sobbing as it made its off-key noises.
Everything alright there, miss?
Don't. Oh, don't start me like that, darling. I hate tooting in front of guests.
Tooting in front of
Are
guests.
you supposed to be a magical talking tuba?
Yes. Oh, woe is me. Don't.
I thought you were supposed to be a harp. Isn't it a magical singing harp?
A harp! Oh, I wish it were so, darling. Toot! But instead, I am stuck as a dreadful tuba making all kinds of terrible toot noises.
Wow.
Oh, but
I don't even want to comment on this right now. I
Oh, there, young
don't.
traveler, I am Raritute.
Raritute.
Really?
Yes, really. And I am dreadfully sorrowful.
Why is Applejack the only
Now
one
go on.
questioning
Ask me
everything?
why I'm sorrowful.
Why are you sorrowful?
Because I'm a captive in this dreadful place, forced to play music, party music, for the wicked giant's many parties. Toot!
It's Pinkie.
I'd rather be playing classical pieces and sounding as light as a lute. But no, I'm stuck playing such tunes as Every Pony Dance Now and the tuba rendition of
Every
the
po-
Macarena.
Every
Raritute
pony
cried,
dance
and with each
now.
sob, she let out another dreadful tooting sound. Applejack winced at the sound and
Wasn't
covered
there
her ears.
another, like,
At this point,
object that
she would say
lived in this fairy
anything to make
tale
the
that was
awful
alive?
noises stop.
Well, how's about I help you escape then?
You would do that for me? Oh, how wonderful! Toot! We will become the best of friends, you and I. Perhaps you could learn to play the violin or the cello, and then we could perform concerts together and...
Whoa now, wait just a minute. I said I'd help you escape. I never said you could come home with me.
But I have nowhere else to go. Oh, toot, toot. Oh, toot.
Can you stop saying toot? When I think of toot, I think of a fart.
I can surely make it worth your while, darling.
And how's that?
I know of a magical tree that the giant keeps, which bears fruit of the golden apple, each one 24 carats at least. They're mighty delicious, darling, if used the right way.
Golden
Though I
apples.
suppose they could be sold for profit, too, if you so desired.
Golden apples! So that's why I've been led here. Show me the way, Rarid.
So,
Toot.
And then I can come with you.
Raritute. I can't get
Sure,
over
why
that.
not?
Raritute.
I can shove the golden apples in my ears to drown out the tootin'.
Oh, this is positively marvelous. Aha, toot, 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 toot.
Could you try not to do that, please?
I'll do my best, darling, but I am a tuba after all. It's in my nature. Follow me then. Oh, and don't eat any of the food or there will be drastic consequences.
What kind of consequences?
Let us hope you don't find out.
Fee, fi, fo, fum.
Applejack followed
Pinkie's
after
not
Raritute.
having any
Her
fun.
interest had certainly been piqued. Why would taking a bite of food be so wrong? At first, it was an easy request to follow, but with each new delicious treat after another, they became more and more tempting. It seemed to Applejack that each new dessert was better than the last, and her stomach grumbled each time she avoided taking a bite. She hadn't eaten since the day before, and even then it was a meager meal at best. Still,
Okay.
Applejack did as Raritute had advised, until she caught sight of the most amazing dessert
Apple pie, I'm
she had ever
guessing.
seen and smelled.
What is that?
Why, it's a golden apple pie, of course. Made from the
I
apples
know
of
it.
the tree we are seeking.
Golden apple.
Applejack trailed off, her hooves unconsciously walking closer to it.
Here we are, darling. The tree is just around the corner.
She's gonna eat part of the
What are
pie.
you doing? Don't!
Raritute screamed with a loud toot of distress. Applejack had wandered over to the pie, her eyes transfixed on its golden filling.
Just eat
Her
it.
mouth watered, and her stomach grumbled loudly. And
Stop
though she could
talking
hear
about food, it's
Raritute
making me
annoying
hungry.
and loud warnings not to, Applejack leaned in and took a bite. It was the most amazing pie she had ever tasted, and she buried her face into the pie for another bite. Without missing a beat, the giant door burst open, scaring Applejack so much that she leaped into the golden pie to hide.
Pinkie Pie looks
Standing at
psychotic.
the door with a large grin on her face was none other than Pinkie the giant.
Bee, fine, diddly-dum-doo, bee. Who dares steal a bite from my tasty pastry?
Pinkie the giant bounced from the door to the table, causing the room to quake as if the earth itself was moving. Raritute screamed with a toot and ducked behind a large piece of cake, while Applejack struggled to keep her hat on her head as the golden apple pie bounced up and down on the tabletop.
All clear here.
Pinkie the giant said as she inspected a cupcake on the opposite end of the table.
Nothing wrong here. Or
Uh-oh.
here.
She's gonna eat
examined
Applejack.
each pastry,
I don't remember
picking
how
up
the
one
story
at
of
a
Jack and the
time,
Beanstalk
looking for any little
ends.
missing pieces or nipples.
So I really don't remember
Applejack
what's
frantically
gonna. I
poked
don't know
her
what's
head
gonna
out
happen
of
because
the
I don't
pie
remember how this
and
fairy
looked
tale
for a new
ends.
hiding place. She saw Raritut giving her a nasty glare, and then she noticed the tree that she had been searching for. It was no more than 50 yards from the pie, with a yellow trunk and light pink leaves, and on each of the many branches
I don't
hung
see
a
a
bright
tree.
golden
All I see is
apple.
the pie.
Although the room was shaking with every bounce from the giant, Applejack could have sworn she saw the tree shaking in fear all on its own.
Ah, my prized pie.
Pinkie
Uh-oh.
exclaimed, pulling the golden apple pie to her nose to smell.
Uh-oh.
Applejack shouted,
Whoa!
falling with a splat back into the pie.
What? My pie can talk?
Pinkie
Really,
cried,
Pinkie?
dropping the pie onto the table and causing many other desserts to fall over.
Oh, say something else, oh magical deliciousness.
Applejack coughed and popped her head out of the pie, gasping for air before she met the gaze of the rather disappointed giant.
Aw, you're not a talking pie at all. You're just a pie thief.
Pinkie the giant said, reaching down with her hoof and scooping Applejack out of the pie.
Uh-oh.
Applejack was barely
This ain't
able to
good.
grab her hat in time and cringed when she put its wet stickiness back on her head.
You had to use the word
Who are you?
cringed.
And what do
That
you
was
want with
cringy
my
using
dessert?
for them to use the word
You-
cringed.
Don't know who I am, Pinkie?
This is hilarious. I love this.
Of course I don't, Applejack. This is the first time I've ever seen you before.
But you just
It
said...
doesn't matter anyway. You have defiled my greatest work, and now you must pay. Tuba,
Yes, Miss Giant?
play me a tune. An old western kind of tune. Sing this pony in a
How are you gonna
happy
do an
tune.
old western on a
Great
tuba?
idea.
Before Applejack could wonder what Pinkie the giant could possibly be planning, she found herself in another corner of the bakery where a collection of pony-sized toys strewn about the countertop. Within a flash, Applejack was redressed in cow-pony boots, a white hat, and a vest where a cheap but golden sheriff star was pinned. While Applejack tried to figure out how she could be dressed so quickly, Pinkie the giant had set up an entire old western
Well, it's
scene
Pinkie. You really
complete
can't
with
question
shops,
anything
desert
with her.
sand, and an old railroad track.
What's this here setup all about?
Applejack asked, attempting to take her hat off. Of course, Pinkie the giant was having none of that. She readjusted the hat on Applejack's head. She picked up a little purple alicorn toy dressed in a similar designed black outfit and a crudely drawn black mustache.
Ha ha ha! We meet again, Sheriff Applebottom. You can never stop
What the
my
heck, Pinkie? No, this is just
nip,
weird.
nip, evil
There's
plan.
a rarity toy on the
Are
track.
we really doing this, Pinkie?
Quiet! Don't you want to know what my plan is?
What nefarious plan have you concocted, Pinkie?
Pinkie? Who is this Pinkie? I am Midnight Moonshine, the unwanted outlaw.
Oh my
Moonshine?
goodness, this is
You
just
do realize that's another
Not
name
cringe.
for...
Yeah. This is, I don't know what word to
Sheriff
describe it. It's just hilarious.
Pinkie said, speaking for a different toy on the playset.
It's,
This
well,
was
I mean,
a
like I
white
said,
unicorn
this is
mare
typical
with a
Pinkie.
deep purple mane that was tied crudely to the train track with a piece of giant
Magpie,
yarn.
you outdone yourself with this
See for
series.
it you can,
Or at least with
Applebottom.
this one.
And
You
while you do,
did a good
I will
job.
rob the
It's
cookie bank.
over the
No,
top and
Pony,
ridiculous,
just
but
stop
it's hilarious.
Applejack looked from Pinkie to the toys that were roughly her size.
I don't have time for this.
Pinkie lowered her head and rested it on the table, looking Applejack in the eye, glaring darkly.
What did you say?
I said, fret not, miss.
Rarity.
Oh, so we're not changing her name then?
Nothing else fit right.
From across the way, Raritut made an unimpressed tooting sound.
Toot.
Miss Rarity then. I shall save you.
Applejack
Wow.
sauntered towards the Rarity doll. It too was dressed for the part, wearing a red frilly gown and a hat that she was sure that real Rarity would never dare to wear. She bit down on the yarn and pulled, wondering what
I'm
the
not
catch
sure if
was.
Rarity would wear
That
something
was,
like
of
that.
course, when Applejack caught
Wait,
sight of a toy
is she
train
wearing a
heading
choker?
her way.
You have gotta be kidding me.
Really?
Hurry! Hurry! Hurry!
Concern it, I'm doing my best.
Pinkie screamed in place of the Rarity doll.
This
Just as
segment
Applejack
of
pulled it
this
free,
is just
the toy
odd,
train sped by and
and I
straight
just
off
don't
the
even know what to
counter,
think about it. This
landing
whole
with a
play with
crash
the
on the
toys thing is
unforgiving
just
ground
odd
below.
and just
This did not seem to
crazy.
deter Pinkie as she cheered for the doll.
Oh, Apple Bottom, you're my hero.
I sure am, Pink. Rarity. Are we, done now?
Done? We've only just begun.
Pinkie the Giant exclaimed, motioning to
Oh
the
my
cupboard
God, this
behind
is
her
just
to show
over-the-top
Applejack the many
ridiculous.
hundreds of outfits and playsets she had stored away for playtime.
Oh no.
The pit of Applejack's stomach dropped, and her eyes widened, imagining the horrors that were to come.
But I do have to take a teensy-weensy break to finish baking all the goodies for the party. Giant Gummy's cake must be perfect.
Pinkie the
Stop
Giant
talking
said,
about food,
swooping
making me
Applejack
hungry.
up with one swipe of her hoof. She hummed merrily to herself as she placed Applejack on the shelf in the play cupboard, as if she were now one of the many toys Pinkie had collected. As Pinkie closed the cupboard door, Applejack quickly pushed her hat in the way of the lock. Pinkie the Giant turned the key and bounced away, assuming that she had successfully locked Applejack inside. From the table below, Rarity caught sight of Applejack's trick and intended to use her music to aid in her escape. She turned her attention to Pinkie the Giant, tooting as she hobbled towards her.
Might I play you a tune while you cook your delicacies?
Oh, a happy working song?
Wait.
No, Pinkie. Disney claimed the rights to that one.
Aww.
Perhaps something soothing.
Rarity offered, trying her best
Oh
to play
my
a tune
God.
to lull the giant to sleep. A hard task to do.
I can't believe what was that.
Of course, as it is with these sorts of fairy tales, Pinkie the Giant was helpless to Rarity's song. She set down her giant baking sheet of cookies and rested her head on the table. After a few minutes of silence, Applejack could hear her soft snores. She struggled a little at first to pull her hat free, then bucked the wood of the door to open it. Being careful not to make a sound, Applejack leapt from the cupboard and onto the countertop, securing her hat back onto her head. She looked to the door and almost ran to safety when she remembered the delicious golden apples. She thought perhaps if the giant slept long enough, she could take the tree for herself.
Well, do that and
Whoa,
hurry up
hang
and
on a
leave.
sec. Applejack wouldn't steal.
Pinkie, you're supposed to be asleep.
Oh, right.
Applejack crept along the countertop, hopping from saucepan to
This
baking
isn't supposed to
sheet,
be
making her way
Applejack,
back towards the
Applejack.
table.
It's Jack
At long
Applejack.
last, she reached the golden apple tree,
What I mean
marveling
by
at the
that
delicious
is
fruit
Jack, like
that
from
it
Jack
grew.
and the Beanstalk.
Maybe
You know what
I
I
could
mean.
have just one, Applejack said, turning around to buck the bark of the tree and
Oh
cause
my
an apple to
goodness.
fall.
Oh, if you don't mind, I would rather you didn't do that.
Fluttershy, are you a tree?
Who is Fluttershy?
Aren't you? Well, then who are you?
I'm
This is a
Flutter
joke.
Tree.
Going back,
Of
I
course.
think, to season
Of
2,
course
I
you're called
believe.
Fluttertree. Alright, I'll play
Back
along.
where Fluttershy said, I'd like to be a tree.
Fluttertree, would you be so kind as to allow me to take you home with me?
Oh, I don't know. That's not very nice. I mean, I don't really like it here, but it would be so sad if the giant woke up and her tree was missing.
What does Fluttertree want?
Well, will there be little animals where you live?
I live on a farm. Little critters are always wandering about.
Okay.
Oh, like little pigs and cows and chickens? Maybe even some songbirds and squirrels.
Something like that. So, what do you say?
Oh, alright. I'll come with
A
you.
yellow tree with
How do you expect to carry
pink
your weight
hair? 'Cause
all
that's not
alone?
leaves. That's
I
hair.
figured I'd use the conveniently
That's
placed
weird.
wagon about 10 feet from where I'm standing.
Applejack said, tilting her head to the side to
This is just
indicate to the little
ridiculous.
red
I can't
wagon
get over
waiting
how
behind
ridiculous this
Fluttertree.
is.
I guess all
It's
the ramps
hilarious.
make
I
sense
love it.
now. Can't wheel you out of here without them.
Applejack pushed Fluttertree towards the wagon, and then used every ounce of her strength to lift it into place. As she strained and groaned under the weight of the tree, one of the golden apples shook loose and plopped right onto her head.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Applejack merely shook her head and picked up the apple that had
So are they
fallen.
not made
She
of
rubbed it on her
actual
vest
gold?
before
Or they
taking
just
a
gold?
mouth-watering
I don't know.
bite.
I'm not gonna question it.
We're gonna be the talk of the town once I get these here apples home. No pony will be able to resist them, and our money troubles will be over.
Applejack declared,
As long as you
finishing
take care of the
apple with
tree.
a satisfied smirk. She took the handle of the wagon in her mouth and carefully pulled it along the tabletop as far from the sleeping giant as she could. From the corner of her eye, Raritoot could see Applejack and Fluttertree nearing the edge of the table, where the ramp around the leg
I
would
can
take them
see
swiftly
an angry
down.
look on their faces.
She
Something
gasped
bad's
in
gonna
horror,
happen.
thinking that Applejack had forgotten her promise to take her along. She hurried across the table towards them, each hop making a toot sound. The more frantically she hopped, the louder and off-key the toots became.
Stop!
Shh!
You gotta wake them up.
Can't you keep that racket down?
You forgot me? Don't! After all I've done for you, and you were just going to leave me here?
Shh! I was not. I was gonna get this here tree to the floor first and then come back for you. I swear.
A likely story. Dude, you didn't even want to go with
Pinkie's
me.
gonna wake up.
Why would you want a useless, ugly old tuba lying around the house? Dude,
Please, Raritoot, you have to keep it down. The giant might wake up and...
it's always about that silly old tree, isn't it? Dude, oh, these apples are so delicious.
Oh my
Such an
goodness.
amazing tree. Such a magical wonder. I bet it's the rarest
Seriously.
ever grown.
Raritoot!
This is just so weird. I can't get over
letting
it.
out a loud toot as she did so. Applejack put a hoof to her face and closed her eyes as she heard the unwelcome sound of the giant waking up.
Uh-oh.
Never ordered that bungee jumping equipment.
Wait, what?
I mean, what's going on here? Hey, where's my tuba? My golden apple tree.
Run!
Applejack shouted, wheeling Fluttertree down the leg of the table and towards the door.
Uh-oh.
Raritoot objected, bumping into a large cupcake as she pursued Applejack. The cupcake teetered on the edge of the table before landing with a splat mere inches from Fluttertree. Applejack smeared some of the splattered frosting from her face with disdain before continuing towards the opened door.
You left the door open?
Yes, Pinkie, it's called a plot device.
Well, that wasn't very smart of me. Applejack might get away with my stuff.
Oh my.
That's the point, Pinkie.
Oh, okay. You can continue.
Pinkie the
Pinkie, you
giant
need to
listened for the
stop.
toots of
This
her
Pinkie.
tuba until
Dude,
she
I know
spotted
you
them
got
making
your
their
thing
exit.
breaking the fourth
She
wall,
growled
but
and raced for the door
it's making
ahead
it
of
better.
them.
I like.
Before she
this
could
is
make it,
hilarious.
however, Pinkie stepped down on the fallen cupcake and slid from one end of the room to the other, colliding into a wall.
I'm okay.
Applejack, Raritoot, and Fluttertree made their way outside towards the Beanstalk. Pinkie the giant was on their tail, and Raritoot screamed a toot so loudly in panic that Applejack's ears went flat against her head.
Could you stop that? We're trying to make our escape here.
Get back here, Dave! Even if it is uncharacteristic that you would be stealing anything, we're going to ignore that for story purposes!
Pinkie the
Oh my
giant
gosh,
shouted after
Pinkie.
them. Applejack bucked
Are
Raritoot
all of
up
these
into
gonna
the
be?
wagon.
Is every single one of these gonna be
Fluttertree
this
then got behind
absurd?
the wagon and pushed it.
What are you doing? Hang on,
I
Miss
like.
Tuba.
It's
We're
hilarious
gonna
how
Applejack said,
crazy this is.
pushing the wagon onto the beanstalk and then hopping into it herself. With a loud,
Yeehaw!
the three of them rolled down the beanstalk ramp, Raritoot screaming the entire way down. Mrs. Sparkle
Can you
had waited
stop
half the day for her
saying
daughter to
toot
return.
all the
She
time.
looked up at the beanstalk curiously when she heard a strange sound of a screaming tuba. Much to her surprise, Applejack and her two new companions rolled off the beanstalk, missing the house to land in the dead cotton fields.
Twila, the axe, quick!
From the clouds above, Pinkie the Giant waited at the top of the beanstalk and watched Applejack make her descent. Hold on. Why are you waiting, Pinkie? Shouldn't you be pursuing them?
Oh, that would be silly. I'm a giant and I could have caught up to them in 2 bounces. Not to mention I could climb down much faster than a rolling wagon before she even had a chance to find an axe.
So you're just going to wait here for her?
Yep. It's a pretty big plot hole in the original story if you ask me.
Once Applejack's
Wow,
axe began
whatever,
chipping
it's a
away
fairy
at the
tale.
beanstalk, Pinkie the Giant resumed her chase, sliding down the beanstalk like it was a fire pony pole. Before she could reach the ground, however, Applejack's axe had cut clean into the beanstalk and the entire plant toppled to the ground.
And I guess Pinkie died. Hey, look, there's the cow.
Pinkie the Giant was a few feet from the ground when she suddenly stopped in midair and righted herself, landing softly on her hooves.
I'm like a cat.
Really?
Always landing on my paws. Hubs.
Oh,
Except
my
you slipped on a
goodness.
cupcake 2 minutes ago.
We don't talk about that.
Once on the ground, Pinkie the Giant spotted the only living creature in sight. It was a brightly colored cow with rainbow hair. She shook on her hooves when she looked up at the giant, too shocked to run.
Oh my goodness. It's a rainbow vine. I bet I can get
That's
us
still
a
an odd
rainbow
name to
milk
see.
too. And I can make rainbow butter, rainbow cake.
Oh
rainbow
god, this
pudding.
is so
Pinkie the
weird.
Giant leaned down and swooped up the cow.
Who needs some crummy old golden apples anyway? This is so much better.
Pinkie the Giant grabbed a tuft of cloud passing by and fashioned it into a flight of stairs. She hummed a merry tune to herself as she bounced back up to her home in the sky,
Oh my
drowning
god.
out the
Then what's
frantic
the point of
boom
a
of rainbow
beanstalk?
vine as she
Wait,
went.
no, that's so the ponies could have get up there.
Meanwhile, Applejack and her mother delighted in their new flutter tree, picking the golden apples that would magically appear once the fruit had been picked. With the seeds from the apples, they replanted their dead field until an entire orchard of flutter trees sprang up from the ground.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I hit your branch? Oh, pardon me. I'm sorry. Could you take a few hops to the left, please? I'm sorry. You're resting on my root. Oh, my bad.
What the heck?
Oh,
This is just so weird.
Here. Oh, these animals are so cute. Oh, he's so cute. Move a little, please. Oh, he's so adorable.
Oh my goodness. Sweet Celestia, this is weird.
Animals are so cute.
Okay, we get it. Can you stop? Gosh, this is...
Raritoot spent her time playing songs for Applejack and Mrs. Sparkle as they harvested their new crop, whether they liked it or not. And with the money they earned making golden apple products, they were finally able to pay off their debts and live a comfortable life.
The end. Good night, Pound. Good night, Pumpkin.
Oh.
Dreams, my little ponies. And a
So,
good night to you too out there. Hope to see you next time for some more Pinkie Tales.
well, that was enjoyable. I really liked that, and there's still many more where that one came from. That was actually way more over the top than I expected it to be. Like, it was not at all how I thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be weird and odd, but that got really over the top, if you ask me. Like, it just went... See, the scale of weirdness, I thought I was going to be down here, like just in the middle. Then it skyrocketed way past the top. But I loved it anyway. It was hilarious. It was one of the best things I've seen in a while that have made me laugh. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please tap the like button down below. Subscribe, leave me a comment. Link to my Twitter, Instagram, and DeviantArt will all be linked down in the description below, just like always. And do not forget to hit that notification button so you'll be notified when I upload videos. And Link to the original video will also be down in the description below, along with Magpie Pony's channel. Go subscribe to her to show her support, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye!